Alright, so I'm changing the CVT fluid in a 2014 Nissan Juke. It is down here on the rating plate it does say it is a REOF 11A transmission. The Nissan dealers say that these cars, they take NS free fluid, so I've got myself some genuine Nissan NS free fluid from the Nissan dealer. And I've also got my filter kit. Alright, I've removed the old filter in the housing. I did need a bit of a screwdriver to wiggle it free. Just see there that there is an O-ring or a gasket that fits in between there on the end, so just be sure that pull the old one out of the engine CVT first. See that rubber, that black rubber in there, pull that off first, and so that you can install the new one that has the new rubber already installed. Here's the old rubber I just pulled out from the old filter. So yeah, make sure you pull that one out. Don't forget to dab a bit of oil on the new rubber, just so it slides into the housing and doesn't damage it, and then put it all back together in the reverse order that you took it out on. Alright, don't forget to clean up around the old housing and install the new housing gasket. As you can see, the old one's pretty flat, so yeah, it is worth replacing it if you can, if you've got one in your kit. Alright, it's all back together and the plug's plugged back in. 3 bolts back into that unit, and I've just pulled out the CVT fill plug. Mine doesn't have a stick. That's how some of them come apparently. When I did some googling, that's what came up. And this is the fill here, so I'm going to measure and fill exactly the same amount of fluid that came out of it. It does look pretty dirty, so I think it is the original fluid. So yeah. Alright, so I've measured exactly 3.5 litres that's come out of it. The car's on a ramp, so it's on a bit of an angle, but yeah, that's what's come out of the oil pan. So I'll put exactly 3.5 litres of the stuff in it. This is a free, I think it's a free 4, was it 3 or 4 litre? This is a 4 litre can of Nissan CVT fluid. So what I'll do is I'll fill that in, and then I'll drive it for a few hundred kilometres, or maybe even just 50 kilometres, and then drain and fill again, so I get a second round of fresh CVT fluid through there, because a lot of the fluid is still inside the CVT, and what we want to do is mix it with the old and dilute it so that it's mixed with the new, and then drain and fill once more for a service. The CVT filter kit, so I went with an aftermarket kit because the pricing is quite expensive direct from Nissan. So it's got the internal pickup filter, it's got an O-ring that comes with that, and it's got a external filter that goes on the side of the engine. I've got the genuine NS free fluid from Nissan, 2 4 litre bottles. Not expecting to do all 4 litres, 8 litres at once, but maybe a drive and then a second flush after that. And then I've got the gasket that came with the aftermarket kit, much cheaper than the genuine kit from Nissan. So I've just loosened off the bolts under here to drain the CVT fluid from the oil pan, and it's a bit hard to see, but on the side of the engine there is a filter housing. I'll show you that a bit later on once I get to it. Alright, so I've just popped the oil pan cover off. That's installed with a few M10 fasteners. There's the bottom filter there, you can see, screwed on with another 3 fasteners that will need to be replaced with the aftermarket filter that I've got. You can buy genuine if you want. Here's the oil. The oil's pretty clean, but it should be done every 60 to 100,000 kilometers. 60,000 kilometers is ideal for CVTs, so you get an extended life out of them. The oil pan looks pretty clean. I believe it's been either flushed in the past, or maybe the CVT's been replaced before, I don't know, because we're the second owner of this car. It's an import from Japan, but the magnets look pretty clean. There's not too much metal stuck to the magnets, and the base of the pan looks pretty clean too. This is the oil level tube, so if you were to not measure the contents of your oil and put the exact amount back in, you could use this when it's up to the right temperature to detect if you've overfilled or underfilled your CVT, and you can top it up until it flows over the tube and out of the drain. What I'm going to do here is just replace the fluid with the exact amount of fluid that came out of it, so that I don't need to bring it up to temperature as per the instructions, Nissan instructions. I just need to replace the exact amount of litres that came out of it and be done. Just be prepared to catch all that fluid when you pop the filter off. And as you can see, there's an O-ring, I think that comes with the kit, that should be replaced. And armed with the new replacement filter. Right, here's the new filter. You can see the mesh inside there. That's looks like a sort of a metal mesh. I've just installed the new O-ring on there and just dabbed a bit of oil, old oil, on the O-ring so that it slides straight in without damaging it. So it slides straight into the hole there. Push that up into there gently. Give it a bit of a wiggle. There we go. It's just popped in. And then install the free fasteners, free M10 fasteners back on, and torque them up. Not excessively tight, but nice and tight so that it won't come off. And it's probably a good idea to also tighten them up gently in a circle so that they've all got equal tension on them as you do them up, so that it sits flush with the transmission. So let's do them up by hand, and then I'll torque them up evenly after this. Just before I close it up, I just wanted to show you that there is a drain, well, not a drain, but a fill plug in there that you can unscrew from the outside using an Allen key. As you can see, there's the hole there. You need quite a big Allen key to get that open, but you can even pump out the fluid before you drop the pan, but you don't need to. But you can easily fill it through that hole or fill it through the dipstick tube. Mine doesn't have a dipstick, it just has a dipstick plug with no level stick on it. I think many of the newer engines come with a stick like that, which is quite annoying because you can't check the level from the top. Alright, didn't really realise it, but there was quite a bit of metal debris on the magnets, so yeah, it might be the original first clean of this this filter and oil. So the old filter gasket was actually made from metal, and the new one I've just placed on there is made from rubber. So I've dipped it in some oil so that it seals nicely, and I'll chuck it back on the underside of the car. Alright, I've got this external filter that I need to replace now. From what I've seen in other videos, it's a lot more straightforward. This one's got this device here in the way, so it looks like I just need to unplug it and then take these two bolts out here, 1, 2, and pop that unit off, and then I can get to the bolt. So this is the filter here, but as you can see, it's blocked by this black unit, so I will need to remove that first to get to the bolts so that I can remove the filter from here. I've also had to tuck this cover out of the way just to get access from the wheel well from below the car here. Right guys, so there's actually 3 sets of screws holding this unit on. There's one more at the back. It's hard to get at, so I highly recommend taking the wheel off to get to this. This is where the black unit was on. And you can see the third screw back there, your omission to get at. Seems like there's 2 O-rings that seal this unit to the bottom, so I recommend chucking a clean rag over it to stop any debris from falling in. And there's your filter, so it looks like there's just one, maybe 10mm to get into that. But to get these free bolts out, I needed a 12mm socket to get those out. So yeah, that's the next step. Next step is to take that off and pull the old filter out and pop the new one in, the replacement new O-ring.